Thank you so much, Navika. It's a very, very grim evening here at the Red Fort where we are currently located. In fact, you can see how, in fact, security personnel are coming in. The National Energy Commandos, it appears, are at the spot even as we speak. And in fact, you can see the huge rush of those commandos as they are going into that particular location. And this is, in fact, a spot which is right outside the Red Fort area. This is, of course, an area which is barely a few hundred meters away from Chandni Chowk on my right side. And let me just explain to the viewers what has happened even as we speak. A vehicle, an I-20 vehicle, as the Commissioner of Police has told us, was coming down this particular road, and it was where it reached this particular red light that the vehicle, which is about 100 meters away from where we are standing, exploded. The nature of that explosion is such that we're seeing car parts that have flung about 100 meters away. This is the location where you can see a piece or portion of a white car, which the eyewitnesses claim was the vehicle in which the explosion took place. And all of this has led to the complete clampdown, the complete shutdown of the Chandni Chowk area, an area that is normally very crowded. And the very fact that this happened just a few minutes before 7 p.m., the very fact that it's happened at this very red light, right outside the Red Fort, right next to Chandni Chowk, raises some serious questions about the timing. Of course, the Home Minister himself, when he was asked about when he has in fact put out his statement rather this evening, has very clearly specified that all angles are being probed. The very fact that you have the NSG, you have the National Investigation Agency, which is tasked with probing acts of terror in this country, is here on the spot, along with forensics as well as other branches of Delhi Police who are present on ground, goes to show the manner in which the security establishment is thinking. Let's first listen in to what Home Minister Amit Shah said in his statement earlier today evening.
आज शाम करीब 7 बजे दिल्ली में लाल किले के पास सुभाष मार्ग ट्रैफिक सिग्नल पर I-20 हुंडई गाड़ी में एक ब्लास्ट हुआ है। ब्लास्ट के कारण आसपास की कुछ गाड़ियां और कुछ मार्ग पर जा रहे लोग भी इंजर्ड होने के समाचार हैं। प्राथमिक सूचना जो मिली है उसमें कुछ लोग हताहत भी हुए हैं। ब्लास्ट की सूचना आते ही 10 मिनट में दिल्ली क्राइम ब्रांच, दिल्ली स्पेशल ब्रांच की टीमें स्पॉट पर पहुंची है। एनएसजी और एनआईए की टीम एफएसएल के साथ अभी गहन जांच करने का शुरू किया है। आसपास के स्थान के सभी सीसीटीवी कैमरा और बाकी सब चीजों की जांच के आदेश दे दिए हैं। मेरी सीपी दिल्ली से भी बात हुई है, स्पेशल ब्रांच के इंचार्ज से भी बात हुई है। सीपी दिल्ली और स्पेशल ब्रांच के इंचार्ज स्पॉट पर मौजूद हैं। हम सभी संभावनाओं को तलाश रहे हैं और सभी संभावनाओं को ध्यान में रखकर इसकी गहन जांच की जाएगी। सभी ऑप्शन की तुरंत जांच होकर नतीजा जो आएगा, जांच हम जनता के सामने रखेंगे। मैं कुछ ही देर में स्पॉट पर भी जा रहा हूं और अस्पताल में भी मैं तुरंत जाऊंगा।
Let's go right across to our reporters. Joining us from the location where I'm currently standing at is Bhavtosh Singh. We also have with us Pragya Kaushika, who's also with us from Home Minister Amit Shah's residence. But I want to go first and foremost to my colleague Kritika. Kritika, you're at the LNJP hospital where Home Minister Amit Shah has arrived. Has he met with the family members of the deceased? Has he met with the injured victims of this blast? What's happening there at the moment, Kritika? Get us the latest update.
Well, yes, Madhav, firstly, the death toll that we can currently confirm stands at 13. And the Home Minister has met with the injured as well. We've been seeing visuals of him doing the rounds at the LNJP hospital. Remember, since we've been here, we've seen a stream of ambulance also in fact in motion here at the hospital as well. Right now showing you live visuals from the hospital. You can see the convoy of the Home Minister. The Police Commissioner is also inside. Mr. Golcha is also inside as well. They're all taking stock of the situation. He is expected to leave any time now and visit in fact the incident spot near Red Fort at the Red Fort Metro Gate 1 as well. On your screens currently is the Lok Nayak Hospital. We've been able to speak so far to officials who have confirmed the death toll to us, which stands at 13. In the visuals we were able to see the condition of a few of the injured that Mr. Home Minister was also speaking to. So far, they look like they are in shock as well, given the circumstances that the national capital is also witnessing as of this evening. Any moment now, the Home Minister will also be making his exit from here to reach, in fact, Red Fort as well. We will be expecting a media brief from the officials at LNJP post his visit from the hospital as well. So definitely concerning situations all around. As we were already earlier also speaking, security has been beefed up. Even here, there have been separate cordons that have been set up for the movement of ambulance as well. So all precautions are now being taken care as well. So far, the anecdotal views that we have heard are from the drivers of the ambulance who brought in fact, the dead bodies. They were saying that about 7 people they were able to spot, but all of their body parts were also scattered and flung. So that had to be collected first. These are very gruesome details that we're sharing with our viewers, that in fact we are sharing with our viewers currently. So that is the situation as it stands at the Lok Nayak Hospital as well. Concern all around. The Home Minister is done with his rounds as well. Any moment now he will be making his exit and in fact reaching Red Fort. Earlier as well, we can also expect a media brief from Delhi Health Minister, Mr. Pankaj Singh as well, who will be expected to brief the media on the condition of both the nature of the injuries of those who have been brought in and also the nature of those who have brought in dead, whether their families have been made any contact with. So all of this crucial information also we'll be getting to our viewers in a short while. Over to you.
All right, let me quickly take this across to my colleague Bhavtosh also with us. Bhavtosh, we understand that the NSG is also present on ground at the moment. Take us through what exactly they would be looking at a location like this, given the fact that there is a lot of the debris, there are pieces of flesh, there are mangled pieces of vehicle parts that are lying all over the place. A very, very difficult task that, the NSG and the other agencies like FSL have before them. Bhavtosh.
Yes, in fact, Madhav, nearly 3 hours after the blast has taken place or after the explosive blast has taken place, the NSG's commando from the bomb detection center came here. In fact, they are behind that barricade. They are there inside, and it's expected that they will reach that spot when the Home Minister would be here. So the NSG's bomb detection center is here. They would be the one who would analyze the explosion that has taken place. In fact, it's a standard operating procedure where bomb detection center analyzes it and then submits its report to the Delhi police. Here they will submit it to the Delhi police as well as to the NIA, and then a call will be taken as to what exactly has happened. In fact, the team along with the NSG's vehicle, if I can show or pan the camera, Delhi police is now moving the barricade so that this complete area could be barricaded so that NSG personnel can work. Once the analysis of the explosion or the explosives can be done, then a call will be taken as to what exactly has happened. Now, the Delhi police has given one statement. In fact, he has said that explosion has happened. He has said that some deaths have taken place, but has not gone into detail as to what exactly has happened. The Home Minister has also said that they are looking at all possibilities. But the very fact that the entire area has been barricaded for so long.
Let me take this across to Rishabh, who's also with us. I believe we have some breaking news coming in. at this moment, and in fact the news coming in is of what really could be next in the Delhi blast probe. Top sources have told Times Now 7 to 8 NSG commandos are to probe. The team will examine the blast residue and that they will trace explosive material. The terror angle is to be investigated and Faridabad module is under lens. Very, very significant information, Bhavtosh. So certainly in the eye of suspicion of the investigators is the terror module, and what really has transpired is a big question that we're looking at the moment. Very good. Bhavtosh.
Yes, Madhav, in fact, the two things have to be investigated before you rule out the fact that such a huge amount of explosives were recovered, or the ammonia nitrate was recovered, and the fact that just few hours later that a car exploded, and the car exploded, and soon another car which came into impact, that also exploded, and that around 11 individuals have lost their lives and at least 12 have been grievously injured. Clearly shows that these things have to be looked into together. In fact, we have another senior official, CRPF DG. He has also come in. In fact, Madhav, he would be passing through you. So one has to, in fact, see the movement of all senior officials who are coming here. Clearly shows that the blast that has taken place outside Red Fort is no ordinary blast. It's no ordinary incident, and probably for this very reason, the NSG Bomb Detection Center would be sharing its report with all concerned security agencies, and also would be looking into the fact whether the explosives that were seized from the house, the rented house at two places, matches with the explosives.
And this is also, Bhavtosh, very important because Home Minister Amit Shah has left from the LNJP hospital. He's on his way, we understand, to the spot. That would also explain the extra deployment as far as various police forces are concerned, paramilitary and other forces that are present. The security is being beefed up at the location even as we speak. But let me get in a quick word from Pragya, who's also joining us. Pragya, very, very significant that the Home Minister has said that all angles are being probed and therefore nothing, including terror, can be ruled out specifically or categorically at the moment. Pragya.
Absolutely, Madhav, and we are seeing the high security even in this particular area. The central Delhi has barricaded, and in fact there have been police patrols on this particular lane as well. We have been asked to move our cars. We have also been asked to move away from the residence of Home Minister. So this is the kind of security that we are seeing in Delhi right now. But Home Minister, as rightly said, that he has met the injured, and in fact why this visit to the hospital is important is because that first government needs to be seen into the action. Second, Home Minister also will have certain idea what kind of injuries there are, in which direction the investigation is going on. So it's a first-hand information for the Home Minister as well after meeting the injured. Secondly, he'll be going to the spot as well. Remember, there is a very big success that investigation agencies received today when they, bust this whole terrorist racket and also recovered explosive. But is it also linked to the car blast that happened, in the evening? Whether that was the frustration, at some level of terrorist, whether this is a terrorist attack or not, the investigation is certainly going into the direction. But there is also a policy of the government, Madhav, where the government said during Operation Sindhu that any act of terror will be considered an act of war. The government has to decide whether this is an act.
Pragya, stay with us. Let's get in a quick word from our colleagues Rishabh as well as Isha as well. Rishabh, coming to you first. A sudden flurry of activity. Is this just routine police deployment ahead of the HM's arrival at the location of the blast? Or is there more in terms of the investigation that we're looking at in terms of the extra personnel who have arrived on ground? Rishabh.
श्यामलाल जी
Let me take it across to my colleague Isha, who's joining us as well. Isha, you're on the other side of the location where we are currently at. Take us through what's happening over there. Has the area been secured? We understand HM Amit Shah is also expected to visit the location of the blast. What's happening there, Isha?
Right, the Home Minister has left from LNJP hospital. As you were also pointing out, we are on the other side, showing you around here the visuals as well. You can see that this place, this entire route has been, there has been a sea of officials who have been present here. The FSL teams, the Delhi police, the CRPF, everyone has been here monitoring the entire situation. In fact, a few minutes ago, we saw that a barrage of a lot of to ensure that the safety and security is also ensured. The Home Minister is expected shortly. There is no confirmation if it was a terror attack or not, but it is being probed from all angles. In fact, request my camera person to zoom in also so we can.
लाल किले के पास करीब शाम को 7 बजे हुंडई i20 कार में एक ब्लास्ट हुआ है और ब्लास्ट के कारण कार और कार के आसपास की 3-4 व्हीकल और खड़े हुए लोग, ऑटो में बैठे हुए लोग इंजर्ड भी हुए हैं और कुछ मृत्यु भी हुई है। अस्पताल के सूत्रों के अनुसार अब तक 8 लोगों की मृत्यु हो चुकी है। कुछ लोग इंजर्ड हैं, इनका इलाज यहाँ पर चल रहा है। हम सभी एंगल को खुला रखते हुए इसकी गहन जांच शुरू कर दी है। जैसे ही ब्लास्ट की सूचना मिली, दिल्ली पुलिस स्पेशल सेल, क्राइम ब्रांच, NIA की टीम, SPG की टीम, FSL की टीम मौके पर पहुंच गई है और सभी प्रकार की जांच हम तेजी से कर रहे हैं। कुछ ही समय में मैं आशा करता हूं कि धमाके का कारण क्या है उसके निर्णय पर हमारी एजेंसियां पहुंच जाएगी और FSL की सीनियर मोस्ट टीम भी यहां पर पहुंची। धमाके की सूचना आने के बाद तुरंत ही माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का मुझे फोन आया था। उसके बाद प्राथमिक इंफॉर्मेशन लेकर मैंने प्रधानमंत्री जी को भी ब्रीफ किया है। अभी यहां से मैं घटना स्थल पर जाने के लिए निकल रहा हूं और कल एक बड़े सवेरे ही सीनियर लोगों की टीम के साथ गृह मंत्रालय में बैठक कर इसकी डिटेल जांच की जाएगी।
सर, आपको लगता है कि इस हमले के पीछे, जो ब्लास्ट हुआ, इसके पीछे कोई आतंकी हमला है या कोई भी प्लानिंग यहाँ पर की जा रही है?
देखिए, हम सभी एंगल्स को ओपन रखकर सभी दृष्टि से जांच कर रहे हैं। घटना किस कारण से हुई ये अभी कहना बहुत मुश्किल है। जब तक विस्फोट के स्पॉट पर से जो स्पेसिमेंस मिलेंगे, इसका जब तक FSL का एनालिसिस, NSG का एनालिसिस नहीं होता, इसके बारे में कुछ भी कहना दिक्कत है। मगर हम किसी भी एंगल को बंद नहीं मानते हैं। सभी एंगल का हम दृढ़ता के साथ आगे जांच करेंगे। धन्यवाद।
All right, so in fact, that is a statement of Home Minister Amit Shah. In fact, as he was leaving from the LNJP hospital, he has said that probing all all angles, agencies are investigating the cause. The senior most team is present here. The Prime Minister has been briefed as well. This is very, very significant statement coming in from the Home Minister and his convoy just arriving a short while ago at the Red Fort area. Home Minister Amit Shah, in fact, at the spot is what we are learning to take a personal look at what has really transpired on ground with, of course, heads of top agencies. You can see the Home Minister in your screens over there. I don't know if you can see very clearly, but that he is very much at the location where, in fact, the mangled remains of various vehicles as well as the body parts of the unfortunate victims were present a short while earlier. And you can see those vehicles really what's left of the burnt vehicles following the blast. Amit Shah, Home Minister, coming to the spot himself to survey and take a look at what really has transpired on ground with, of course, the top brass of the Delhi police. In fact, there are officials who are present from both the NIA as well as the NSG and various other important wings of the Delhi police. From the we've seen the forensic science laboratory members also who are present on ground, crime branch and other members as well who are present over here. And it's very, very significant that the Home Minister, who of course not just by virtue of being the Home Minister is responsible for the internal security of the country, but he's also in a sense the political leader who directs the Delhi police under whose jurisdiction this entire blast really has taken place. And therefore the Home Minister taking a look at what has transpired on ground. Even as we speak, he's present on ground to get a sense of what really has been the impact of this blast and what the sequence of events are. What could this possibly mean in terms of the intensity of this particular blast and the subsequent blast that took place in the vehicles surrounding the main one that in fact the explosion took place in. Of course, multiple theories, all angles being probed is perhaps the most important statement coming in from Home Minister Amit Shah, which very clearly means that the terror angle has not been categorically ruled out by the government of India. And that's a very, very significant position that has been taken by the Home Minister. Of course, they cannot declare that this is a terror attack unless there is, of course, sufficient proof and evidence of the same. And therefore, let me quickly take this right back to my colleagues Bhavtosh and Rishabh who are with us. Bhavtosh, I'm going to come to you first. Home Minister Amit Shah coming to the spot where this blast has taken place. If this is indeed a terror attack, it is very significant because it would be after a very, very long time we are seeing Rishabh an attack, or Rishabh is back with us. Rishabh, for the national capital to see such kind of a terror attack, it's happening after a very, very long time, and certainly one of this intensity has perhaps not been seen. The area where the incident has taken place also very significant. Home Minister on ground. Rishabh.
Well, definitely, Madhav, the Home Minister is on ground. He has reached the spot. He has just visited the LNJP hospital where he met the injured as well and the members of the family of deceased as well. We are here, and NSG is here with full, equipments and all. You on your screens right now, you're seeing the bomb disposal equipment. This is basically total containment vessel. In case, in the investigations now, while they are looking at things here, they find something suspicious that could explode. This is the vehicle, this is the vessel which is used by NSG to ensure that that explosion do not affect anyone. The NSG that has been rushed in here from Manesar has reached Red Fort now. We saw the NSG commandos walking in. We saw the CRPF also coming in. UP ATS also at spot is what we're going to do. And you can see now the canine, have come in. The NSG has now brought in the dog squad as well. Remember, these dogs are trained in a way to ensure that they find any explosive. So now, the investigations.
Okay, Rishabh, stay with us. Let me quickly bring in my colleague Isha as well. Isha, take us through what's happening there. You were there when the Home Minister visited. He had, of course, the top brass of the Delhi police, along with several other paramilitary and other agencies were present there. Take us through what exactly transpired, Isha. Could you see the Home Minister interacting with several of those top officials? Isha.
Madhav, we are at a distance. In fact, a distance. I'll request Radhe, my camera person, to zoom in. We did see a lot of the NSG commandos here who are at different spots of the location. We'll zoom into the spot so as to ensure we can see that a lot of officials are there on the spot. We're not able to spot where exactly Home Minister Shah is, but the FSL teams are also currently here at the moment, and all possibilities of the cause of the attack are being probed. The cause of the explosion are being probed. The Health Minister has also tweeted. A lot of the tweets have been coming in here as well, but on the ground you can see that the Home Minister came in. He is interacting with the authorities and is taking a stock of the situation. We are bringing to visuals on Times Now that all teams are here on the spot. CRPF police. In fact, the barricading has also been increased since the HM has arrived. But yes, a lot of security ramping up, and the HM currently on spot. Back to you.
All right, thanks so much for that quick update there. That has come in. In fact, Isha, let me quickly, open this up and let's take it across to our guests who are joining us at the moment. In fact, joining us for more, are a panel of experts. All right, let me quickly get in Dipankar. In fact, before we go across to our guests, Dipankar, at the moment, the area only getting more crowded. Of course, we understand that Chandni Chowk area has been not only cordoned off, but because of this investigation, the Chandni Chowk market is also going to be shut tomorrow. Not only was it, in a sense, lucky that it is a Monday evening and Red Fort was not shut, was not open for visitors. Therefore, perhaps the kind of impact of such a blast to that extent could have been more if it had happened on any other day. Dipankar, take us through what's happening in this entire vicinity.
Well, yes, the barricading over here has been increased, and you said it very rightly that Red Fort was closed as it was on Monday, and that helped in containing the situation from getting worse. But right now, barricades have been put in. The HM is over there. He's taking a note of all the things that are going on. We have also been seeing NSG, CRP. They've been coming in. We have had Special Cell and NIA who have been investigating the spot that where the blast had happened, and they have been trying to gather all the evidences, and the NSG have also taken into account. The bomb disposal squad is over here. The K9 unit also over here. So there's a number of things that are happening over here in the area, and as you rightly said, the Chandni Chowk area will be shut in order to facilitate the investigation that is going on, in order to facilitate the probe that is going on over here, so that the evidences which are over here cannot get contaminated. And that is the reason why barricades have also been put in. The security has been also buffed over here. Over to you.
Thanks so much, Dipankar, for joining us. Let me quickly open this up to some of our guests now. Joining us with us is Abhijit Iyer Mitra, Senior Fellow of the IPCS. We also have with us RSN Singh, who's an author. We have Major Manik Jolly, defense expert, joining us on the show as well. Let me start with you first. Mr. RSN Singh, as perhaps somebody who's most experienced amongst the panelists who we have with us, there are telltale signs, but the government, of course, says that every angle is being probed. They will, of course, have to come out and tell us what really has transpired eventually. But, if this is not a terror attack, then there perhaps are too many circumstances which are coincidental. The fact that it happened right outside the Red Fort, the fact that it happened at this particular red light, which is a landmark right next to Chandni Chowk, and the fact that it happened just minutes before 7 p.m. where it's perhaps the most crowded. Too many coincidences perhaps for it to, not be something that was premeditated or pre-planned? Or do you think there is a strong possibility that this could just be a car bomb or something, a car explosion or CNG explosion? What is your estimation of what we are seeing before us, Mr. RSN Singh?
Absolutely not. It can't be brushed aside as, another explosion and reasons not known. This does not happen in a vacuum. It has not happened in a vacuum. There are too many events that have preceded this. So many people rounded up. 3,000 kgs of RDX. My God. What magnitude. And then before that, if I may add, the cyber attack. Before that, NOTAM. Before that, and now this huge helicopter exercise. Then, visit of Pak military officials on Indo-Bangladesh border. Visit of leaders of jihadi tanzeems of Pakistan on Indo-Bangladesh border. So if you add up all this together, you get some kind of a sense that there was a massive, massive plan, the scale of which, is unimaginable. Now, all that has been prevented. This one went through. And to that extent, relatively, you can say that it is our intelligence agencies and other agencies have been successful to an extent, because you have to touch it in relative terms. But
Right.
look at the timing. It also happens during the Bihar elections.
Yes, and Arasan Singh, just one small clarification. From what we were told by police sources, it was about 2,900 odd kilograms of ammonium nitrate. That's what sources had indicated to our reporters at least. But let me ask a simple question of Abhijit Iyer Mitra. Abhijit Iyer Mitra, you're somebody who has covered defense agencies for a pretty long time. The area where I'm standing, there are literally pieces of flesh which unfortunately, because of the huge number of people here, have been trampled upon. There is a part, look at this particular part of a car that has been blown up at least a good 100, if not 150 meters away from the location where the blast has taken place, and that's where you see all those lights at that particular location. Is it possible, in your estimation, Abhijit Iyer Mitra, that such a blast could have happened from the CNG tank of a vehicle which typically carries about 8 kilograms of fuel, or do you think that there is something more to it than meets the eye? What is of course curious is the fact that there is no crater at the location where the blast has taken place, but the fact is that the blast has impacted at least about 10 to 12 vehicles in the vicinity surrounding it, and taking down with it at least 8 individuals and injuring several dozen. Abhijit.
So based on what I've been hearing on the channel, it turns out one car blew up and a second car came and had a sympathetic detonation. Now, while it's possible for a CNG vehicle to blow up, if you apply a whole load of heat to it, you have to ask the question, what was this I-20 guy doing? Did he have a chula or coal underneath his CNG cylinder to be, expanding all the gases within number one? Second, even if it was a detonation, how does a second car sympathetically detonate like that? That is impossible. You see, had it been rust and things like that, the gas leaks. It can't just blow up like that. We also need to remember, Madhav, cars have stopped blowing up for a very, very long time. EVs can combust simultaneously, as we've seen a few years back, but the instances of that have come down to almost zero these days. Petrol and diesel cars used to blow up like 50, 60 years back. They simply don't blow up like this anymore. They can catch fire. You've heard a lot of Lamborghinis, catching fire because there's not enough air going through the engine. But other than that, this does not seem to me, unless it was a confluence of extraordinary circumstances, to be anything natural.
Right. Abhijit Iyer Mitra, there's some breaking news coming in, and this is a big development coming in. The I-20 car belonged to a man named Salman, and police have taken him into custody, is what sources are telling us. During interrogation, Salman told the police that he had sold the car earlier. The police are now working with the RTO to identify the car's owner. I believe we have Priyank who's joining us at the moment. Priyank, this is very, very important. The first detention has been taking place, and this is very significant. All right, I'm being told that Priyank is with us. Let's quickly go across to him. I believe. All right, Bhavtosh with us at the moment. Bhavtosh, very significant. A man named Salman has been taken into custody. Give us the details.
Yes, Madhav, in fact, we are breaking the information that has been shared with us by Priyank, our colleague. Priyank has said that the owner of the I-20 car, which has completely been blown into smithereens, is an individual identified as Salman. Salman was the original owner of this hatchback I-20. When he was called in for questioning, Salman said that he has sold off this car earlier. Now, the original owner of this car is yet to be ascertained or identified. So the police have now knocked onto the doors of RTO. Whether the police managed to get that information, one has to wait and see whether the person who was driving the car is the original owner of the car, or whether he had given this car to someone, or whether one of his friends or relatives or someone was driving this car on hire. So those entire chain has to be established.
Okay, Priyank, who got us that information, is also with us. Bhavtosh, Priyank, what really is the truth behind who was behind the wheel is of course $1 million question at this point of time, but the police have some clue because an individual called Salman says that he sold the vehicle. Who did he sell the vehicle to? Do we know the details? Priyank?
That detail is yet awaited, Mahada, but the big fact is that this explosion cannot happen because of some sticky bomb, which was suggested by the Delhi Police Commissioner in the initial stage. The kind of impact which it has caused to multiple vehicles, which had damaged 6 cars, multiple two-wheelers, as well as the e-rickshaw, is clearly suggesting that this particular vehicle, which was in a very low speed, was loaded with explosive that could have resulted to this kind of blast. What authorities have also told us that they have not found any kind of sharp nail or any kind of sticky thing from the location, which is certainly suggesting that the vehicle was having this explosive. That's why the police, after tracking the registration number of the vehicle, had reached Gurugram because the vehicle had a Gurugram registration, and Salman was cautioned by the police. So far, he has been telling to officials that he had sold the vehicle to someone whose identity is yet to be disclosed by the police, because these are the operational details which can lead to arrest of several other individuals. What is also important to be noticed that after the crackdown which happened today and day before yesterday by the Haryana as well as the Jammu and Kashmir police, there were terror modules which were planning to carry out further attack, who in random carried out this particular attack, which is certainly suggesting the hand of ISIS, KP or JEM.
All right, Priyank and Bhavto, stay with us. We're going to come back to you for more updates, but I want to quickly go right back to our panelists with us. Nirmal Kaur continues to be with us, former IPS officer. Nirmal Kaur, what do you make of this? One person being apprehended, but he says that he has sold the vehicle. He's not the current owner of that vehicle. So once again, this is something that pretty much is from the playbook of terror groups to either buy or steal a vehicle to carry out such acts of terror. Is that indeed the case, or are we looking at a situation where this is just an explosion that has taken place as far as the vehicle is concerned, and that that nothing else, and there should be nothing more that should be read into this? How do you look at these developments, Nirmal Kaur?
The intensity of the explosion, it was so massive. The intensity of the explosion is so much that definitely, it needs something is loaded with explosion, that kind of thing. And the fact that there were no sharpness, this explosion is so strong, so massive, the whole car becomes a sharpness. The whole parts of the car are like sharpness. Sharpness, but they are pointed things which are added so that they cause more damage when the explosion takes place. So the entire car here became sharpness, and secondary and all the other vehicles getting damaged. The intensity suggests that it cannot be just as we were congratulating ourselves and being happy that a lot has been averted by catching all that explosive in Delhi border. This has happened, so that can take place. One can never be too alert. This has happened, and it's very
Manik Jolly, let me put this question across to you, sir. We've been told various plots of terror that have been busted across the country, from a ricin poisoning plot to even over 2,900 kilograms, close to 3,000 kilograms of ammonium nitrate, I beg your pardon, that have been found in Faridabad. This kind of blast, if you can look at the pieces of metal that are lying right here before me, if you can look at this particular piece of metal, and also if you can look at the fact that it's come from about 100 meters away, does this tie in with such a theory? At the moment, police have not linked the two, but does this tie in with the possibility of an explosive such as ammonium nitrate that could have possibly used, if indeed this is some kind of a premeditated attack or strike that has taken place? Again, no official confirmation or official word of that has come in yet. Major Jolly.
Yeah, so I'll tell you something about it. Although we use explosives as a very generic term, the moment you look at the blast site, you can figure out a lot. If it was a CNG blast or a EV battery blasting or catching fire, it would be a little incendiary in nature, and one car would have been burning out. As Abhijit also said earlier, it has to be extraordinary circumstances that 4 or 5 cars had their gas leaking and all of them caught fire together, which is really next to impossible. This has to be an explosive, and generally, as Mrs. Kaur also said, one car's blast, the glass, metal and the plastic elements become the shrapnels. You don't need to add extra pellets because they'll get blocked by the cars moving around, so you don't need that. Also, when the explosive happens, it's the air that rushes out very fast due to the blast and then comes back, which causes a lot of damage. So in that human flesh, human bodies does not have much of a resistance to stop that. So this definitely, even at the first sight, looked like something that has been carried out with the blast. And if you remember Beirut blast, where a huge amount of ammonium nitrate took blasted, and the impact was felt across kilometers.
Mr. Jolly, stay with us. We have some more breaking news coming. In fact, details of the origin of the blast. Top sources have revealed to Times Now that the car had a Haryana number plate. Delhi cops have reached out to Haryana cops. Delhi police special team heads to Haryana is what we are told. Priyank, this is very significant. The Delhi police team has now headed out to Haryana. It's Gurgaon registration. HR26 is what one of the eyewitnesses has told us. And now you're confirming to us that yes, indeed, it is a Gurgaon registration and the Delhi police team has already been dispatched to Haryana to conduct the investigation and take the probe further. Priyank.
Yes, certainly, Madhav. The Delhi police team has reached Gurgaon because the owner of the vehicle belongs to HR26, which means it was from Gurgaon.
All right, I think we've lost that line there with Priyank. We'll try and reconnect with him, but very significant. And in fact, let me take this question across to Tushar Gupta. Tushar Gupta, HR26 is the origin of this vehicle. Of course, the old owner of the vehicle says that he has sold it. We have no clue who the current owner is or in whose possession it was, because there's every possibility of some kind of a miscreant or, you know, some other kind of individual of a more serious nature or from a national security perspective could have acquired that vehicle to have carried out any kind of activity. So at the moment, the police are still putting the pieces together in terms of what has transpired. No official confirmation yet whether it was actually an act of terror. Just the Home Minister saying that all angles are being probed. Tushar.
Look, the police right now to begin with has to look at the CCTV footage, the number plate, and they have to establish the ownership. Sometimes, a lot of times rather, there is a chain of ownership because the car changes hands, the automobiles change hands, and that is where locating the first owner, then the second owner, if any, and then the third owner, if any, becomes very instrumental in the early case. Now, you are reporting that gentleman named Salman has been detained because he was the first owner. But if the transfer has happened, if the vehicle has been sold in a legitimate manner, I think that would only just provide a cue to who it has been sold to. It doesn't really give us any real, update right now as to who could be behind the blast, but it does give us an important cue. Number two, the agencies are out there. The blast radius tells us a story. The kind of damage we are seeing on the screen right now tells us a story. But again, until the agencies do not confirm, until the agencies do not ascertain what has really happened on the ground, we just have to wait. And as the Home Minister also said just right now, within a few hours, the agencies will confirm what was the origin of the blast. But the news coming in today, the Jaish-e-Mohammed module, the kind of RDX quantity that was located, the IED material that was located, amounting to almost 2,900 kilograms. I think if you join the dots, there is a story to be formed. But again, until the agencies confirm, you really cannot, reach a conclusion at this point where we are. So we just have to wait out for the agencies and what to say. But the visuals are really horrifying, and the kind of destruction we're seeing on the screen, that's really horrifying.
Absolutely, and in fact, all angles being probed. That's the key word really over here at the moment. In fact, that's the Home Minister has indicated every angle is being probed. In fact, Abhijit, we just saw the NSG arrive here a short while ago, and they were carrying with them, all sorts of equipment, including a table. There was a massive box with the word inert written on it. What exactly do you think that these agencies would be trying to establish at the moment? What would be key to the investigation is what really the explosive material was. Do you think that's what they're attempting to establish at this point of time, Abhijit?
So there's several parts to a forensic investigation. First is to find what the blast was. The second is to rule out any other thing. You see, there are you can get traces of ammonium nitrate. I heard it mentioned earlier, about an hour earlier, that there was ammonium nitrate confirmed. I haven't heard anything since then. So it must be a process of elimination, number one. The second will be to see whose fingerprints, if you can even ascertain fingerprints, if there's anything left in the car. They will be combing for all kinds of clues, because it turns out, like you announced, that the owner has said he had sold the car earlier. they'll be checking to see if the gentleman was there. I'm sorry, I use the term gentleman very loosely in this particular case. Was sitting inside the car when it went up. There'll be very little of him, to get out. Maybe there is some paint trace on the steering wheel if they can find it. They will be looking for a lot of things. An investigation doesn't go down one track. It goes down multiple tracks. They'll be looking for DNA traces. They will be looking for body parts of the person sitting in the car, etc., etc.
Absolutely. In fact, Major Manik Jolly, one of the descriptions that we saw from at least the eyewitness is that the main vehicle in which the explosion happened had at least 3 or 4 persons sitting inside. And does this, in any way, does this look like it could have been a deliberate attempt? Have we heard of similar acts? If it is to be, for instance, assuming a terror attack, would there be 2 or 3 or 4 persons sitting inside that vehicle? Is that what we typically see of or hear of, Major Jolly?
So typically we've never heard of 3-4 people. It's very rare, but 2 is a very reasonable number when they go out, so that even if one guy chickens out or fails or does something wrong, there is a backup happening. But even if it's a 4, it's not an impossibility. It could quite possible that the trigger happened in a way the other 2 could not get out or something like that. Those are possibilities. But yes, another thing I wanted to add on the car thing is, right, remember right now we are chasing the number plate that was available. It might as well, the number plate is just useless. It could be the same number plate could be existing anywhere else. The real thing lies in the chassis number, which is available on the axle or on the engine and all. And often they file it off. So these investigations are not easy to take off once they involve the investigation take on, and they try to ascertain where the car actually came from. And if it comes from HR 26 Haryana, this comes from a certain area which is infamous for car thefts. It could be very well be assembled stuff from here and there and a fake number plate added. It is not going to be that easy as it looks like, that we got the number and we'll get the guy. And the chain of ownership, I'm telling you, it will be a complicated thing to ascertain, because it's not very difficult nowadays to get fake documents and he say I gave it to Mr. X and there is no Mr. X existing right now. So there's a long road ahead right now.
Absolutely. In fact, Absolutely. And let me bring in RSN Singh on this. RSN Singh, there are, of course, reports coming in. There is a lot of speculation whether this could possibly... All right. Let's take this across, in fact, to our other guests who are with us. I believe we have Nirmal Kaur with us. Nirmal Kaur, if I can put that question across to you. There is some amount of speculation that this could possibly be the Jaish-e-Mohammed because of the nature of the attack that has taken place, and they have made public statements about carrying out some kind of an attack in India. At the moment, no confirmation that this is in any way linked to any terror group, but there is a lot of speculation, particularly on social media, surrounding which organization, if at all, could perhaps be behind this.
Quite a possibility. We see lately a lot has been happening. There's been a certain chain of events, politically also. And you see Asim Munir, who's son of a cleric from Rawalpindi, a very fundamental kind of a cleric, hardliner. His son Asim Munir, he wants to become a field marshal. He wants all this glory and be a field marshal for life. And he's really, this Operation Sindoor and all, and he's apparently gone around claiming that they have had the upper hand. He became a field marshal. So all this is adding up that they have intensified their terrorist activities in India. As you know, all the following events have proven, including the one that happened today from 2 places in NCR, very close to Delhi. Massive amounts of ammonium nitrate were found, and there were also fuses and timers there, not only, and the 2 AK-47 were found. All this is, the one thing to keep in mind is that maybe for the last 11 years we haven't had many blasts. Maybe this is the first one in the past 11 years. Thing to keep in mind is that the number of sleeper cells has multiplied a lot over the past years. And we are not watching. There's no neighborhood help there. I mean, the neighborhoods don't report. So all these sleeper cells, They're so
Ma'am,
endemic.
there's some breaking news
And
coming in. In fact, the last owner has been traced. This is what Priyank is bringing to us. Sorry, I'm interrupting you there. Big breaking news that Priyank Tripathi is bringing to us. The last owner has been tracked to Okhla. That's the information coming in. Remember, viewers, we were telling you about the first owner of the vehicle who had also been detained. He has, of course, stated hence that he was not the current owner, that he had sold the vehicle. The last owner now has been traced to Okhla. Let's go right back to Priyank, who's joining us. Priyank, who is this individual? Is he in the custody of the police now?
Manav, he has been detained. The Delhi police had reached to Rajiv Chowk area of Gurgaon, where the owner Salman was initially found. Because you have to understand that multiple teams are coordinating. It is not only Delhi Police Special Cells 1 unit, but different units have been working together with the neighboring states. Following to which one person, Salman, was tracked in Gurgaon's Rajiv Chowk, and later to that he has revealed that he had sold the vehicle to someone who was staying in Okhla. We are yet to get the exact name of the owner who had purchased this vehicle, but sources have been confirming to Times Network that the active owner of this vehicle was living in Okhla, and his identity is yet to be revealed by the police officer. That can happen post-examination, because these are the operational details, and obviously that can give a clue to other suspect to flee away. That's why the cops are keeping a precaution. They are giving some clue, but we are playing some restraint on that.
All right, this is, in fact, we have to, of course, be very careful because it's an ongoing investigation. We certainly can't put out investigation, any details that would in any way jeopardize the investigation, Priyank. And certainly, of course, that restraint is appreciated. As a responsible channel, we certainly cannot put out any such details. But I'm going to take this right back to Abhijit. Abhijit, very significant because at the moment, it's exactly what you said. The chain of ownership has to be established, and it appears that's where the police is headed. It's in Okhla, where the last owner of the car has now been identified. This is quite significant because this could give us clues as to what really has transpired. Abhijit.
Look, the last owner of the car doesn't necessarily indicate guilt, because very frequently what happens with bombers, in case it's a bomber, is the car either gets stolen or a sale is arranged on the same day. Usually the seller or the person whose car has been sold is clueless. Not always, but mostly, for most part. We don't know exactly what is happening out here yet. We need to be very clear about this. We still do not know if this gentleman in Okhla had a hand in it. You see, the thing is, these people think they can, close the gaps and the police won't be able to figure out. It is actually fairly straightforward once the police have narrowed down the owner to figure out from, tower triangulation where this person was, who they spoke to, where they went. CCTV itself will tell a long story about, connections and things like that. Invariably, what happens is it is the lack of knowledge of how investigations happen that most terrorists get caught. If this was indeed a terrorist attack, we still cannot confirm that. I would put the possibility of this being a terrorist attack at almost 90%. Assuming the 10% it wasn't, let's see.
All right. In fact, I'm told that there is a tweet that has been put out, a post on X social media platform by the Home Minister. Let's quickly, in fact, bring that out for our viewers. Let's quickly take that across where he has put in a social media post. If I can quickly put that up on the screen. And while we do that, in fact, let me take this question across to Tushar. Tushar, a very significant, all right, this is the tweet coming in from the Home Minister. He says, pain beyond words by the loss of lives in a blast in Delhi. My deepest condolences to those who've lost their loved ones. I've visited the blast site and also met the injured at the hospital. My prayers for their quick recovery. Top agencies are investigating the incident with full intensity and will go in depth into the incident. So this is very significant. Tushar, the Home Minister visiting the spot. We haven't seen an incident like this in the national capital in years. And the very fact that all right, Bhavtosh is with us. Bhavtosh, we have the Home Minister now putting on that particular message that he's pained to see what has really transpired on ground. He has visited not just the blast site, he's also been to LNJP, where he would have possibly met the family members of the victims and some of the survivors of this terrible incident. Bhavtosh.
ही नहीं, अभी तक हम जो अपडेट मिले सबसे बड़ा अपडेट फरीदाबाद का है, वो फरीदाबाद में जाएगा।
Bhavtosh, if you can hear me, the Home Minister tweeting about the magnitude of this tragedy and talking about how his heart is going on to the Near India ones. He's visited the spot and he has just also visited the injured at the LNJP hospital. Bhavtosh.
Yes, Madhav. In fact, the Home Minister had first had spoken, and then he has visited the injured in the hospital, and then subsequently visited the scene of the crime, and now has tweeted. This clearly shows that the government is taking the entire incident very seriously. This is coming at a time when there has been a large seizure of ammonia nitrate or an improvised explosive devices that could be used with ammonia nitrate, and the fact that the Home Minister himself is in front of all this. He's the person who has first spoken to the media and then subsequently visited the hospital and then also visited the scene of the crime. Clearly means that government is very serious as far as this suspicious blast is concerned. So far, officially, the government of India as well as the Delhi police has not said whether it is a terror case, but the telltale signs does point out that this could be a terror incident. The fact that the entire area, even you are here, has completely been barricaded. You have seen that just an hour back, NSG's commandos along with bomb detection center personnel visited the spot, that the commissioner of the Delhi police is stationed here. Hundreds of, hundreds of ambulances are parked here. Death toll has increased since we first reported. Clearly shows that something is amiss as far as this suspicious blast is concerned, and the fact that the Home Minister has taken stock of the situation. He is in fact a person who is taking the cause. Clearly means that some government has taken this entire incident very seriously. One has to wait and see under what sections of the law that the FIR will be filed. That will in fact clear all doubts. Now, if the FIR is filed under sections of UAPA, then it's clear that this is a terror incident. Then the question is who will investigate, whether Delhi police will investigate or whether the case will be handed over to the NIA. Back to you.
Absolutely. Very, very important question indeed. Will it be Delhi police? Will it be NIA that investigates this? But Tushar, here's the point. I'm standing at the location where the blast has taken place, just about 100 meters away from me. There are pieces of debris. There are pieces of flesh that I was telling, some of the other panelists that are lying around here. It's all very raw at the moment. But, just the sheer intensity of the blast, the fact that it's happened at such a landmark, outside the Red Fort, right in front of Chandni Chowk area, the fact that it happens at a time just before 7 o'clock when this place is so crowded, and all of these are perhaps just too many coincidences to have happened in one incident for it to have been a benign, routine sort of malfunction of a vehicle, it appears. But at the same time, there are questions. There is no crater as where the blast is. The impact of this has been such that over 8 people have lost their lives. Many questions that arise out of this. Could it has just been a routine car blast is the question that many are asking here. There's no easy answers to that question. Tushar.
Look, if it's a car blast, if it's a CNG cylinder blast, or if it's an LPG cylinder blast, perhaps a car was carrying an LPG cylinder, that would be evident in the forensic investigation. The debris must have been collected for investigation. Some sort of volatile organics would be present. Some sort of cylinder debris would be present. So that could also be a giveaway, but that also needs to be concluded after the forensic investigation is done. And I'm sure until now the forensics team has come, they've collected all the samples they need. But it all depends on the kind of debris, because even if it's, hypothetically speaking, if it's a RDX blast or an IED blast, even then the residue will differ from being it a CNG or an LPG blast. So, it all depends on what the forensic team really concludes. And the samples would have been collected even before, I think, the journalists and the reporters would have got there. So I think that part will only be concluded after the forensic investigation is completed. Until then, it's just guesswork, and we can only work with the signs we have. But all we have right now as viewers, as observers, is the intensity of the blast. I'm looking at how the vehicles have been damaged. Some have completely been blown away, which is not something that you see in a lot of routine cylinder blasts. But again, we do not know what kind of a cylinder it was, what kind of quantity of fuel it was in there. So we really don't have a lot of information to work around with as observers. So that is where the role of the agencies would be critical. And the samples have already been collected. Now we just have to wait for the results.
All right, Tushar, I'd like to thank you as well as Nirmal Kaur and other guests, including, of course, Avijit Iyer Mitra and, of course, others who are with us. For the moment, Major Manik Jolly as well as others. For the moment, I'm going to hand it right back to my colleague Shreya Dhondial in the studio. Over to you, Shreya.